Welcome, adventurers, heroes, and villains, to Burgschneider Live, your gateway to the realms of mythodea, epic LARP battles, and awesome historically inspired and fantasy costumes. So grab yourself a tankard, ready your gear, and join myself, Bale, Nico, Mike, and all of you guys as we talk about all things Brandywine. Because you are absolutely correct, ladies and gentlemen, unlike last time, this is the Brandywine special. Hello and welcome to a vibrant and thrumming chat full of all kinds of individuals hyped up to be here with your great and bubbling conversation. It inspires us to get even more active. We are super happy to be here. We have the largest stack of cue cards we have ever had in the history of our channel. So there is a lot to get through. Pop any questions you have up in the chat as it's relevant. We will get to them when we get chances. We have Mike and Nico on chat duty. They will try and fish out your relevant questions. If we don't get to it, you can talk in all caps and maybe we'll get back to it later. But, maybe please don't.
We don't know what we try to do our best to answer all the questions that you're getting through.
Yeah.
So please, guys, just drop it. It's okay, it's fine.
Who the hell are we? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are Burgschneider. As mentioned, we are makers of historically inspired clothes and or accessories and fantasy clothes and or accessories. But additionally, we have an events department, and our events department runs live action role-playing games. But what, I hear you ask, is a live action role-playing game? Well, thankfully, we have a very experienced person and a brand new victim, number 26, to answer the question for us. Bill, what is a live action role-playing game?
Boy, I suppose there's a lot of different ways that you could go about answering it, But I think the one that I heard best a couple of years back was live action role-playing is collaborative storytelling with a agreed upon premise.
Okay, and how do you feel, just to put you in the spot here, how do you feel that differs from pen and paper role-playing?
Sure. So that's the live action aspect of it. So we're physically doing it with our bodies as opposed to doing it on pen and paper. So some LARPs do employ some pen and paper, mechanics or aspects of them. But by and large, live action role playing, and especially the way that we do live action role playing, is very much intended on and actually being very much what we would refer to as WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Very much trying to limit that.
Does that mean if you're a magic user or you're trying to be a mage and you can't actually throw a fireball, that fireball's not going to happen?
That's the best part of it. The collaborative storytelling aspect of it actually allows us to do things that we can't normally do because we're all agreeing upon the premise and the understanding that we are never we're never expecting someone's reaction to our role play, but instead we are kind of guiding them toward the intent through our actions.
Okay, so if I went like fireball, then that's the response I would expect. But if I went fireball,
there you go, exactly. And the idea being that the more that we commit into the role play, into the action of it, the more the other person understands the intent. And of course, we don't ever expect a specific response. Maybe that fireball missed Nico, and he dodged it or whatever.
Dodge it.
Yeah, he dodged it. But the whole point being he understands it's a fireball. That's the cool part about it, is that we try to employ the idea of, in improv you'd say yes-anding. This thing does not want to go away.
It's gone now.
Yes-anding our way through things. And that's really what it is. In German it's "let mit," and in English it's yes-anding.
Okay. So but we are taking these aspects and these things that we were talking about, we're bringing them into a whole new world. Now, it's not uncommon for people to play LARPs. People play LARPs in whatever universe, whatever genre they want to play LARPs in. But this is the official Brandywine Festival. And we are, in fact, going to be running. You probably know all about this. If you do not know about this, if you are not a ticket holder, this is happening.
This is happening specifically October 7th through the 12th in Harrodsburg, or near Harrodsburg, Kentucky, in the United States, at Terrapin Hill Farms, location that we are partnering with for this event. It's going to be absolutely wild. A lot of people will be arriving the 5th and the 6th, but we go ahead and jump in time in game on the 7th.
Okay, in time, in game, super exciting stuff. So, I mean, I get from the hype that's going on in the stream right now that a lot of you people are actually ticket holders.
There might be a few of them, yeah.
But if you haven't managed to get a ticket, this is the ground level. This is just the first one. This is going to happen again at some point in the not too distant future. So like, stay tuned. And this stream is going to be now locked down. So, you know, apart from maybe a few addendums, maybe some redacted content, it'll be a good legacy guide for anyone who wants to come back to it in the future. But let's talk about the location. I mean, we saw some of the images in there, right? And I haven't been there. Nico hasn't been there, and Mike has been there. We've heard great things about it. But you want to tell us a little bit about the location while I run this dreamy slideshow?
Yeah, of course. Love a dreamy slideshow. Yeah, Terrapin Hill Farm is the location we're going to be using. It's a part of Kentucky that actually has a weird connection to the Shire, actually.
Okay,
so there's actually a portion of Kentucky that has a former resident who actually went to Oxford and was a friend of Tolkien's. His name's Alan Burnett. And Alan was actually one of the Inklings, one of Tolkien's friends. And he shared a lot about Kentucky rural life and about the kind of the way that Kentucky kind of inspired him in a lot of his work and in a lot of his poetry. And Tolkien, you can say, okay, well, there isn't really any tobacco being grown in the area that you know, specifically in England where he was inspired by, but there is in Kentucky. And another interesting aspect of it is that actually there are 3 names of hobbits that actually come from this region of Kentucky. The Barefoots, the Boffins, and the Baggins are actually family names from this region of Kentucky.
Oh, that's crazy.
And have found their way into Tolkien. Now, we can't guarantee by any means that these were, you know, this was definitely Alan Burnett, you know, passing these, but it is something that a lot of people have surmised as a you know, a thought. And this location really does lend itself so beautifully to being the Shire that we really felt this was the correct place to be. Did a little bit of scouting to find the right spot in this.
And speaking of scouting, is that a lake? Can we swim in that lake?
Players will not be encouraged in October to do so.
Okay. Is that just because of the temperature?
Aside from the temperature,
Snapping turtles?
there are snapping turtles. Keep in mind, Terrapin Hill. A terrapin is a kind of turtle. There are snapping turtles. So yeah, we definitely wouldn't advise people to swim unless they're, you know, sure that they want to.
Okay,
you know,
so some kind of chainmail waiting.
Boy.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't advise any of that.
That's your own peril.
Yeah. Fishing, oddly enough, will be a part of the event. You'll be able to get. You have to come with a Kentucky fishing license, obviously.
Okay.
You actually will be fishing.
Get
but
your
the
Kentucky
river,
fishing license now. Fight the bureaucracy. Get ahead of the game to be in the game.
You are time.
you will
Run.
actually be able to do fishing in the river connected to the event.
Okay, that's super important. Have the license in Kentucky or any
License
state.
in Kentucky.
No, it's a Kentucky fishing.
Only
license,
Kentucky.
yeah.
Okay.
Fish and Wildlife Service license.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, man, that it looks just like the Shire, like just like how I have it in my mind. It's so crazy. It's so crazy to see it, and just like I've seen a lot of photos, and like I've edited photos before, but I can tell that those photos haven't been edited. Those colors have not been. And I was like looking at them, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the term bluegrass in regard to music in the region is actually from the grass that grows there.
And
that specific field is actually a bluegrass hayfield.
I noticed there's lots of like tall grass in the area. Will that be taken down for tents and camping?
We cut that down. So that hay will be harvested prior. So it'll be
cool.
you know, your standard grass height throughout the event.
Nice. Really high.
But keep in mind that, you know, the field part of the event actually takes part in only about 10% of the overall event space. We have 250 acres of land that we're going to be able to
crazy.
use for the event,
So
and a
it's,
huge portion of that.
So you can
are
really go on
wild
some
forest.
adventures, guys. Like get out there, explore the place, especially because everything, like I was saying before, like everything's angling up to be a recurring event. The better you know the space, the better you know the place, the more at home you're going to feel there as it comes year after year.
What's interesting about the story that's being told there is one that if you've read the books, you're going to be, you know, somewhat familiar with certain aspects of how the event will play out.
Yeah,
I don't want to
think
give
I
too
was
many spoilers.
struck by
toward
the
that.
aerial view of how much it looks like that Hobbit. Like was it the back end? What's the name?
Bag End.
Yeah, it looks kind of like the back end map from above. There's like the little thickets and the areas and the roads going through. It's so cool.
Beautiful area.
Yeah. But I mean, look, not just the location is going to look the part. It's also about you guys and the people coming into the environment looking the part. And like we kind of had some discussion about this. A lot of discussion goes around because like the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings occupy, I feel like, a really interesting place in history with their aesthetic. They like sit in this like 1640s to early 1910s period, really more like narrowing it down to like late 17 to mid 1800s.
It's even slightly older than that. So we really we worked specifically with historic costume designers from Colonial Williamsburg, who specifically were able to help us to do this. Shout out to Nicole, Abby, and Maggie. Thank you guys for being part of this. I have no idea if you're in the chat, but hello. And you know, they really have a very good understanding of this period of history, and this 18th century garment style is one that has a huge range in what it can look like, and we were able to dial that down into specifically what we were looking for the event.
Yeah, I mean, that is because like you have to understand that while the fashions of the mainstream dictated by the upper classes sort of like will constantly roll and change, like that sort of dictates a lot of what we see, whereas like the mainstay of fashion for the working class and family groups and the home and the hearth, which is so much of what like, you know, hobbits are about, kind of sits at this median in that whole period of time, really from like the 1400s all the way through.
There's a lot of things that we see that
like,
transfer around. There are obviously garments that are kind of more specifically timed that we you know, encourage people to use, but yeah, there's a lot of range in there and what you can create with a costume.
So it's not really necessary to be nailing the age. You'll be more flexibility to doing it.
Well, in order to kind of facilitate and ensure that this took place, we actually put together a costume guide, which is available for players at the stage. It is, I believe, 41 pages of information on how a player can prepare for the event with their costume. So it's been a really great process of putting that together along with the rest of the team.
But let's put a little bit easy. So for example, now it's 18th century, 17th century?
18th century. Yeah.
So if we take another bit like older, there's no problem.
A little bit older, you probably wouldn't have any trouble. Going a little bit later, you would start to see some problems. Because the evolution of clothing started to become a more rapid changing process as the world, you know, kind of shrank, so to speak.
Yeah, it really did, especially with industrialization, because we're right on the cusp of the Industrial Revolution. With that period, you see like pocket watches, they're starting to be a thing, but they're very much a luxury item, but they're kind of this mainstay of like that Hobbit aesthetic, right? But then, like, I guess the exciting thing for me, at least when it comes to exploring hobbits, is they are this, like, this, you know, 17th, 18th century sort of inspired, like middle, lower class, like working class kind of environment, tradesman class even, some might say. But then the world around them, the greater world of Tolkien, like throws its net into these like exotic fields. So you've got like the relics, like while the core costume, because like hobbits, they like to be in their family groups, they like to be in their comfort zones, they want to be comfortable within like a certain bandwidth of how they dress and how they act in their family groups and their society. But relics, artifacts, pipes, things like trinkets beyond the scope of what they're actually wearing could be from, you know, 10th century or 11th century or like in the past, you know.
Kind of ties into a good question that we just got.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what is the frequently overlooked portion of LARP costuming, and what is something in LARP costuming that people spend too much time on?
Sure. I think it's a great question. I think one of the things that people don't take seriously enough is, you know, a lot of people buy or make costuming and they will finish it and it will look fantastic, but then what ends up happening is that they don't apply the story to their costume. So how is the costume worn or weathered over time? How is the costume showing the tradesperson or the skill of the person who's actually wearing it? So there's a lot of areas where taking a bit of sandpaper or a hammer or a knife to a costume actually provides a lot of opportunity to tell a story with the costume. I think the other part is trinkets. This like costume froth is what we refer to. It's such an important thing that I think a lot of people they'll kind of put on those base layers and get the shapes right, but then that next evolution, that next piece that I think offers a lot of opportunity is those small storytelling pieces.
Yeah, and this is like, it's cool, it's awesome, you can do this, and some people will like do this straight off the bat and they'll have a lot of time, but you have to remember, in like European LARP communities and long-term LARP communities, and even in America, people have gone to Ren fairs for years. Some people have just been developing and building and perfecting their costumes for like
Costumes
15,
never are done.
20 years. No, you're always better off just like remaking or improving on an existing costume piece for the same character than you are trying to like be a whole new character or make a whole new costume.
Yeah, I mean there are people who absolutely love the process of developing new costume and character every year for an event. And they create a character, they kill a character, and they start again. Those people are out there.
Yeah.
But the average LARPer that attends an event that is kind of canonically multiple years will just allow that character's costume to develop over many years. And kind of the phrase that oftentimes you hear is, a costume is only finished when the character is dead, and then you recycle all the pieces.
Yes. Yeah. Into other costumes.
Exactly.
I think just because I've seen some people have some kind of questions about it. I think you don't have to be really complicated. You just now you got the big document, and also you got now the age and the rank that you can handle it. Easy at the moment. Don't complicate yourself, because now is the moment to start to grow up your character. If you wanted to do it year and year and year, so if you wanted to do high customize, is also perfect. It's pretty good. People are gonna look amazing. But if you don't have any idea which route you wanted to take for the moment, easy, take it easy. Buy some trinkets, something classic, comfortable, and according with the weather. I think is the best suggestion that I can do.
Also, your character will evolve and change. Like your concept of the character, the idea of the character you have, will often change as soon as it meets the game, and you'll be like, oh, actually, wow, maybe I invested too much time in this aspect of my costume when I'm more comfortable being this kind of character.
I think it's that whole thing of like the best laid plans never survive the first engagement, and it's like that also is the case a lot of times with costumes. I can't tell you how many times I've developed a costume, gotten to an event, and realized I actually don't want to play I've discovered a part of the character that I want to play, and now my costume is actively stopping me from doing it.
So no cybergoth hobbits. Avoid fluoro.
No
fluoro. Hair extensions. I don't think. Are we doing furry hobbits? No furry hobbits. Just generally like avoiding like really obviously modern stuff. Obviously within reason, and we'll get into this in a little bit more detail later. Let's actually have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, well, there was one last thing that we wanted to put in there is with regard to your accessories and the things that you have to build up your costume. You have to remember that any utensils that you have that are not strictly eating utensils, or survival, like very necessary survival utensils, should be foam. They should be made of foam. If you have a knife on you that's like a Bowie knife, or like a sword that's like history, it should be made of foam.
Thankfully, what's great about like the rules and the code of conduct for this event will be that you're allowed cooking utensils. They should stay in your camp when you're done using them. And aside from like a standard knife and fork and plate that goes with you for a meal, there are no weapons at the event. Hobbits did not. I mean, it is clear that Tolkien said that there were some swords floating around in the Shire, but they were mathams. The word that he uses is matham, which is a word to describe an object of particular interest with no particular use. It wasn't a thing that they would have brought or had around. So we're actually instructing players, as well as in the costume guide, don't bring them. They have no place.
If you have a sickle, so some people might have a sickle, or farming utensils or anything like that, maybe you get into a heated argument over like who actually owns those cabbages. You're chasing the hamsters out, and you're running around and you're waving a utensil in the air. Please make sure that utensil is made of foam.
Please.
Pitchforks, like anything that you think you're going to be engaging in play with in the game, like even if it's not a weapon, just better safe than sorry. I've had a few commissions like for sickles over the years, and they say, oh, I'm not going to fight with it, but I still want it to be foam. Famously, the undead flesh in the realms of Mythodia have a whole range of surgical tools that are all made of foam, and they will operate on you intensively with their foam tools, and it's super fun. So again, if you're a surgeon or a doctor and you want to have that kind of play still in a peaceful environment, somebody has a bump, like if you have any tools or surgical tools, like just make them safe.
Shouldn't see any of that stuff at the event, but if you are, like, for instance, someone mentioned a broom. If you want to jokingly swat someone with a broom, let's do that with a broom made of foam, ideally, unless you're
But let's now we've got some of the creative juices flowing about like what we're talking about and the scope of what we're doing. Let's have a look at some of the influencers I'm gonna have like done just to see what we're looking
some
at here.
awesome content creators.
So please, these captions, these are just screenshotted from Instagram. The captions are no longer relevant. You cannot win.
You cannot win
a ticket
tickets,
to
yeah.
the Brandywine anymore. Please help
Yeah.
me out with the names of some of these influencers.
So yeah,
Tom.
it's Maggie. Sorry, Maggie. That is Kiki. Right there. That's Kiki, Incandescent Kiki, fantastic content creator. Instagram and YouTube does amazing stuff. TikTok as well. Another that we saw there was Honey Source Cosplay. Kate, awesome cosplayer from the States as well. And this was Kiki actually just going through and showing off some of the costuming that she had
So I
thrown
believe
together.
it was 24 costumes in 24 seconds. If
Yeah.
you go to the Brandywine Instagram, it's like it's crazy. And these guys are showing both male and female presenting outfits, and then they're also showing like out clothes as well as in clothes, which is important because like we'll talk about it later when it comes to like tents and camps and camp activity. But you know, even though it's a festival, hobbits bring their homes with them.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Having a
and-
nice, comfortable outfit to relax next to your camp with. Yeah, there's definitely value there. We talked this up, banyans, for instance. That's a thing that people are willing to bring. You see one right there.
And look, if you are not like these influencers and you just don't happen to have like a giant costume library sitting around or a big group of friends from which to borrow things from, you have other options as well. Like and like you can have a look, you can see that some of the important points about the costumes that they put together is like buttons are still totally cool. Like, and all kinds of buttons. Generally, obviously, I wouldn't go with like plastic buttons, but if you could find something wooden buttons, mother of pearl, coconut buttons, anything that's possibly natural, stone even, like they all, or at least stone look.
Sure. Yeah. Those are all totally valid options.
Yeah, you saw some pocket watches in there. Also, there's a move away from the traditional 1700s vests, which were all the way down to the knees. And I'm not saying don't wear a 1700s vest. They're like very cool, but like the vests have moved up quite a lot. So
Yeah, in the 1700s they did. 1600s, yeah, we definitely saw them a little bit longer in style. A note on pocket watches. Actually, what's interesting is that although maybe the movies have played with the idea around pocket watches being something, Tolkien actually has no reference toward it and actually explicitly states that hobbits actually didn't like anything more complicated than a simple watermill or a loom. And for this reason also we've instructed players like something like a pocket watch probably wouldn't be appropriate there as well.
all right. And how should people tell time in the game?
Why would you need to?
It's sorry. This is actually a small point of contention, only because it is something that we often advise people to do in game, is to have access to watch and have access to a timepiece. Because when you play the game and you play through the game, you often make engagements to meet people, and things are happening at certain times.
We have we have ways that time will be able to be told by players. We won't give away too much just yet. There is an aspect of it, but no, pocket watches aren't a thing. We've even advised people that if you are wearing something like a watch for medical reasons or something, they're actually asking you to cover that up,
Conceal it.
So actually, no, for this event, there really won't be much of that. If you have personal interactions where you want to set a time to do a thing, there is going to be a mechanic in game that kind of helps along with this, but we'll go over.
I definitely know from some of my travels that there are some countries that you will visit and you'll stay in some of the suburbs or places, and there are people who just go around and every hour they'll like bang a pole or ring a bell.
Yeah.
Or they'll have certain calls, like I know here in Germany, like the bells will ring at certain times of the day, all the church bells. If you stay in like Indonesia or other Muslim countries, you will find there's call to play reliably at certain times of the day. I don't know, I'm not organizing this event, but if he says there's something going on, I'm sure they've got some facilities in place to help you keep track of time.
There is.
And kind of like in a similar vein, but a bit different, just to go back to a previous question we had. How does the team anticipate coordinating all the activities for over 1,000 participants? It's going to be a really big scale.
Yeah.
Although it's a really big scale for a lot of players who've never attended an event on that scale,
Yeah.
it's something that for us is actually something we're very familiar with. Conquest and Mythodea, Chronicles, JDS, these are all events that sit well above the 1,000 player number, and we're quite familiar with on how to do this. There are lots of mechanics and systems we put in place to allow us to communicate with our team and to facilitate kind of how activities are balanced throughout the course of the event. Plot design by its nature, and big shout out to Noah and Marcus, two of our head plot writers. They designed specifically with the idea that we have activities for lots of different players and things to do that aren't particular quests, but are specific activities. Things like the Four Farthings games, great example.
Yeah.
We're gonna have lots of different little contests and fun activities that players can engage in throughout the event. But then also there is those things where you can get involved with kind of what's going on with NPCs and even create your own plot. And we encourage players to develop and to co-create in the space as much as they'd like
Yeah,
to.
we're absolutely going to get to a little bit more about that
Yeah.
in not too much longer. Did you have any other questions right now?
Yeah, and then just I think a smaller thing, a subset of that is just expectations for like the grass pathways and kind of managing the grounds itself just for the people while they're there.
Well, I heard there was a lot of groundworks already being undertaken on the location.
Yeah,
Is
we,
that correct?
we did a lot. We had a team of 40 on site during
Wow.
June, just cutting trail and prepping the location and doing a lot of camp prep space. For the main, the main quest space, the main festival space, it's all going to be basically grass. It's all just cut down grass. That's what hay is.
Yeah.
So that's very kind of, you don't really need to worry about pathing in that sense.
Yeah.
When you kind of leave that area, there will be kind of paths you will see, natural paths that are either game trail or clearly human paths, where we've maintained, and some of them are more accessible than others.
Will you have signs saying, "Danger, you are leaving the festival site"?
No, danger shouldn't really be a concern. Maybe you'll know if it'll be very clear you're leaving the festival site.
Yeah.
I think the thing that people actually should realize about the location is that it is not flat. Yeah, there are hills.
So it's
there
like
is-
the Shire.
It is very much like the Shire in that
Ah,
regard. There's
who would have thought
lots of hills. The festival actually takes place in a valley,
Yeah.
where the river is, and actually on either side it is quite a hilly region. So it's quite exciting.
Well, before so just to skirt back, we want to make sure that you guys understand that while you can make your own costumes, you can go out and find your own costumes, you can borrow costumes. You've talked about the stuff, but let's have a look at what Burgschneider has to offer. So I have gone through our entire collection, and this is not everything in our collection, but is everything that kind of immediately jumped out to me when I was going through it as within the realm, within the scope. And some of these are really cherry-picked from across the place and from a bunch of different collections. But you can see there's a lot of shirts, like shirts from the Dungeons and Dragons collection. We even have shirts in the Warhammer collection that are very much in the vein. Let's see the Bard shirt there on the left. Capes, these capes I particularly enjoy. Bonnets. Never underestimate a good bonnet. It was just
Good hat.
like history. These, let me actually just pause this. I might take a little bit more time with this actually. So have a look at these gaiters, right? So this is one of your, I really want to wear comfortable shoes that are modern, but I don't want to screw them up or change them. These leather gaiters can just go over the top of any shoes that you wear, and they are perfectly in time. Now I know hobbits are all barefoot, but
That's actually not even true in itself. Tolkien actually talks about the fact that dwarves actually sold boots to hobbits, specifically in this area of the Marish.
and vests. These are a range of
Vests are always an option. I think there was a few pieces in there that probably are a little bit unadvisable. Specifically, take a look at our costume guide. Obviously, if you are attending
Of
primary
course,
sources,
you'll
the
have that
costume guide.
information.
Not everything Burgschneider sells obviously is going to be appropriate for this by any stretch.
But shirts, hats, these pants, particularly the Kurgan pants in the middle, they can be taken off above the shins and tied off. So
You can
that
even
they
leave
have a
them down
similar
like that
look.
as well. Totally an option as well.
Totally fine. And a lot of these underdresses, like we were talking about, like timeless fashion,
Sure.
of like the early periods, like these are underdresses.
Yeah, totally. Underdresses like this are going to be fine. If you would
Yeah,
like to
standard.
combine them with other pieces. I'd say that long tunic probably one that I would pass on, and probably also that Osseberg tunic.
Yeah, so with the long tunic, I was more thinking about the top. So if you took the bottom, cut it off, or tucked it into a pair
Yeah,
of
we're talking
pants,
about modifying stuff like that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that kind of top I don't think is problematic at all, especially with the
Yeah.
vest. I think that would be lovely.
or if you took like this long top here on the left in the black and wore it with a pair of like pants that were high up in the Hobbit style, added some belts. Like this is the thing with Burgschneider. It's about, we provide basic templates,
Absolutely.
historically inspired, that you then modify to fit your use purposes. And while everything in this is not like a perfect fit, a lot of these things can be very, very easily shown in.
Yeah, I think, obviously check the costume guide when it comes to things like, for instance, this hood would
Yep.
probably find a good space within the Hobbit design. But for instance, like there's lots of great options. Colors like black, obviously, we want to stay away from as well. So again, check the costume guide when it comes to that. Bright colors, Tolkien was very clear on that kind of thing.
Yeah, with regard to these outfits as well, like all of the things that you're seeing here are mostly available in a range of colors. So you can see like the natural colors, some of them are like in a seaweed or a blue.
Yeah.
So if the
Lots of options.
if a color in there isn't fitting what you need it to fit, like you can see with the bonnets here, like they're available. in
Tons of different
several
options.
different
Even
colors,
that vest, for instance, is available
yeah.
in 2 different.
All of the Dungeons and Dragons wear comes in 2 base color combinations. The Warhammer starts in 2 base color combinations, probably the red, not the black.
Not the black.
Yeah, probably not, but feel free to stick some weight underneath that if you want to.
These hats, berets, stay away from the. I'm not sure if you're using the
Koi?
coifs at all.
Coifs wouldn't really make sense.
No, they don't seem to. But the hat that was on top, and that's what the picture was from that we saw, is the hat. Like berets are eternal. People have been wearing berets from the dawn of time, and
Berets are-
be wearing berets
Great
until
tool. Great tool.
time goes out. Actually, this is one of my secret favorites. Is this dress right here on the right? It's pretty timeless. It's also, when you actually have a look at it online, you see it's got gathered sleeves as well as a gathered neck. And again, just as an underdress that you can throw some things over.
Yeah, I think so.
Comes in a couple of different colors. They throw an apron over the top of it, or a coat, an apron.
I think a
some belt.
bodice, stays. I think there's a lot of different ways that you could go about potentially using that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I think that gathered neckline is really nice.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
gathered sleeves. I think it offers a lot of opportunity.
Also, just some generic skirts. Sometimes it's actually really hard to find skirts that go all the way down to your ankles, which is kind of appropriate. And these shoes here are some of the most, like they say women's shoes, but I personally own a couple of pairs of these shoes because
They're so comfortable.
they're comfortable, and the configuration of these shoes with a single lace across the top is pretty universal across at least 500 years of human history.
Never underestimate comfortable shoes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The other great part about that particular pair of shoes also is that it has a modern sole.
Yeah,
So you have
awesome.
modern grip, which is really great. A lot of historic shoes when you buy them, it's just a leather bottom.
And again, like just thinking outside the box, you can see in the Dungeons and Dragons line, like these monk pants that come in 2 colors actually kind of
Could totally work.
Could
totally
totally
work. I can see those absolutely being fine as a very comfortable, quick option.
Yeah,
We got improvement. Yeah.
yeah.
Odd as it is, those could totally work.
So as you can see, there's like, if you're stuck, we're still like a couple of months out.
Yeah.
So
Definitely have time.
And obviously, what I've got there is not necessarily reflecting what's available in the States, but because we have a different warehouse, a different supply warehouse in the States. But if you're coming from the States, jump on the website, have a look, see what we've got. You'll find that there's like,
Most things are going to be available on either, and sometimes when things aren't available in the US, they do ship from our German.
and
supply,
while
so.
you can put together an entire outfit from Burgschneider
You absolutely
stuff,
can.
that's, we've already talked about accessories and trinkets being as much of the outfit. It's about the modifications that you make and the things that you add and the things that you bring that tell your story and your character's story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thrifting's great. Jump out there, thrift, check, your local, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, these kinds of places. Find fun things. And it's not just for yourself, but also for the camp space that you develop, which, kind of goes along with our camping guide. Tons of ways to kind of communicate around your character's story through your costume, but also through your camp.
And speaking of your character's story, we've like come a little bit to like the rules of play and how we're actually going to be playing this game. And a lot of the kind of play that we engage in, at least the European LARPs engage in town play. Yeah, they have their big battles and stuff like that, but like 80% of the game that you play when you go out on like a weekend long, 3-4 day long event like this happens like in the camps, person to person, in the towns. And that's kind of what you're leaning into. That's what you're leaning into with the Brandywine Festival. And play it's an emotional play. It's about your story. It's about your character. And it's about, what it is to be a hobbit. And what is it to be a hobbit, Bale?
I mean, I think the easiest way to describe it is like a hobbit a hobbit's best friend is comfort, ease,
Oh yeah.
and kind of the joyous and encouragement of good food, drink, and company.
Yeah.
And I think this is really what the event is leaning into it at its most core level.
Okay, just one question, and it'll be faster.
Sure.
Scheduling, people that we're receiving a couple of questions about the scheduling the games is also is the people have like a guideline, like give you an example, like a quest or something like that
Sure.
people can just handle it through
The
the game.
timetable, yeah.
Timetable, yeah, thank
I
you.
mean, timetables are going to work for certain things. Like, hey, we're starting one of the Four Farthings games at a certain time, and we have a mechanic in order to allow people to know when that'll take place.
Okay.
And then we'll be communicating that in our kind of our
okay,
player's guide and handbook. But for things like quests, those are going to develop organically. There's not set timetables for how these things play out, because organically that's kind of the nature of how
That is
the
absolutely,
interactions and role plays are going
because
to be.
the schedules that you guys will be getting will be for the thrum of life that runs through the game.
Something naturally has a timetable.
I want to put a pin in this because we are coming back to this later,
Sure.
actually, like the two parallel streams of play that exist. And it's really important and a great question, but we will absolutely be answering this in a little more detail later. But like, think about like when it comes to the plays, like what are your stories? What are your character? What is your character? What does your character care about? Fun, food, drink, produce, gossip.
That's
You
it.
know, like getting into like first, like before you engage even in a schedule or even in like plots and stories and side quests, it's like you have to understand, you have to see who you are, who is your character, what you're going to bring to the party, and that can be built either alone or is also built alone, as well as in the group that you go with. Some of you will be going alone, but some of you will already be like hooking up with other family groups and creating your own internal dynamics and your own internal plot lines.
Yeah, this is very actively taking place in the Discord already. We have tons of people who are already kind of grouping up in these interesting ways. And to the point you were making previously, I think the value of preparing a character and bringing a character with this idea, like you said, of things that we care about. Like having opinions is great. Having strong opinions is even better.
Yeah.
And we really encourage this. So one of the things that, coming later this month in our player handbook, our player guide, we're going to talk a lot about these things. How you design a character in order to best allow you to explore aspects of the game. Having a lukewarm opinion of everything means that you're never really going to be able to engage to the fullest. In
Choose some hills that your character will die on.
Yeah, I think that's super fun to be able to do.
But-
I care about potatoes.
Yeah, and
I care about potatoes.
deeply.
I really care about the fact that I'm looking to eat potatoes,
Yeah.
and the fact there aren't potatoes, that's making me upset.
Because these are the things that are important, the small things. This is what hobbits care about. As society pushes insular, and you have to understand, hobbits are they're like this insular, sheltered society of like middle class, like comfortable people who live comfortable lives and love those
It's
comfortable
very
lives.
agrarian culture.
And everything outside of that is scary and other and alien, and they've lived in this place for so long. So the stories that matter to them are like, who's gonna win the pie eating contest?
Yeah.
Who made the best cheese? Who grew the biggest pumpkin? Who stole that pumpkin? Who's who's
Who carved the best pumpkin? Like, there's so many different ways to do it, and I think if we think about it from the perspective of scale, right, and mountains and molehills, like the idea that for most people who are attending LARPs, the idea is that they're saving the world, or they're saving lives, or they're doing something grand and opulent and amazing, but we're not going to be doing any of those things. We're going to be turning molehills into mountains, because we want to kind of allow the small things to the petty things, those things that really in the scope of, oh no, we need to save the world, don't matter. Here they do. Those things do get to matter. We do get to take
If
it
this butterbeer isn't going to make it all the way to my friend's place, I didn't travel halfway across the country to not share my butterbeer with my friends.
then you got to stop drinking so much of it on the way, Like,
A bit of a waffles versus pancakes debate going on as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, so
No, no.
let's take the waffles versus pancakes debate here.
Yeah.
So first thing is I know normally I'm the last person to answer the question, but I'm gonna save that for Bale as the guest adjudicator on this particular show. But I need to know, by the time it comes back around, we talking crepes or pancakes?
wow,
Because that's
a
I
big
hate to split hairs,
That's a
but
big
we're
difference.
like two very different ballparks here.
For
All right,
American
Nico?
No,
fluffies,
please don't kill me, but waffles. But for me, the best thing, easy and faster, and you can put whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that
You
is
can do that with a pancake too.
Yeah.
no, I spent a waffle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, for me, it's
Oh,
better
like give me like pancakes with chocolate chips in them, like melted a bit.
Better than waffles?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, you're,
Better
you're,
waffles
you're
now.
gonna
Wow.
you're gonna cause a war.
I am
So
gonna
just
cause a
let you
war.
know.
Yeah. Jeez. You know, like pancakes, I have more nostalgia for that. Like waking up
Sure.
to pancakes, so I think that tips it for me.
Absolutely. But with the
Yeah.
waffles, you can put it
Alright.
all the kind of Islam in it and also a lot of fruits. And
Yeah.
you can just roll in and eat and really comfortable.
Yeah, you roll it and eat it. This is like, it was pouring to me.
All right. Yeah.
Me personally, I'm actually a waffles guy. It's like
Alright.
cups of little syrup.
Yeah.
You know, like I can for me, I'm a waffles guy personally.
All right, cool. Well, just to get back to, did we hear anything on the pancake crepes versus pancakes thing?
Pancakes versus crepes. That's I mean,
I prefer.
very thin pancakes. You know, it's,
Come on, it's a different thing.
It's a solid contender.
Okay, so just to be absolutely clear, I will take them all together. I famously will order all of the things I want to eat on my fucking food safari. When I am out there, I am just going to eat it. I'm just going to order my pancakes and order my
put
crepes
them on top of each other.
and
call it a day.
order the waffles, and I will eat them all, and I will eat them one bite at a time. I will have a bite of this. Don't deny me the Japanese pancakes. You can take a crepe, right, and you can wrap a whole piece of goddamn cheesecake in that crepe combined with banana, maple syrup, sliced strawberries, ice cream, and then slam the whipped cream on top, my friends.
like
and
a-
it's a single-hand treat. You can just eat
Type
that.
2 diabetes in a meal.
It's delicious.
Looking to lose a foot. This is the way to go. You know?
That said, I will also take a
Amazing.
fat stack of pancakes, traditional style, with a wad of butter between each goddamn pancake, swimming in a sea of maple syrup with fucking bacon all over that goddamn thing.
Just the gout. The gout and the footless type 2 diabetes thinging. You
I
know.
think you can't beat good pancakes though. Like
Yeah,
just good pancakes, maple syrup.
Have you tried using a stick?
I suppose eating everything with a stick does kind of, shish kebab version definitely does offer something.
All right. But like this is what we're talking about. This is Hobbit play. This is the kind of camp play that you should be looking forward to having.
Yeah, have the
with
banter.
people. Like
Have the
stand.
banter.
What is the hill you will die on? Pancakes, crepes, waffles. Choose it, live it, start
Absolutely.
long-standing family feuds over this
Yeah.
particular thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like have yourself a crepe party to show everyone else the crepes are the best, and then somebody else will have a pancake party and then sneak in and
Or like crepes or sod pancakes.
That I did see that in the chat, which is quite a thing to say.
That's
It's a bold statement. It's a
But
really bold.
regardless of all
got a
this
person
play,
of culture.
regardless of all this play, we do actually have rules of engagement, because there are, as much as we are encouraging you to like create characters that are like these puzzles of stories, of people, of personalities, we also have to respect people, and we have to have tools with which we can make sure that our space is respected by others. So there's a few things that we kind of live and die by in all of the European LARPs, because this is, as Bale said before, collaborative storytelling. We're working together, and if somebody doesn't want to be a part of that story, they have to be able to opt out. So
Player agency is super important.
yeah, so one of the good things to understand is the difference between what is in time, as in we are in game, and what is out time, or we are out game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So some people will have, like, it's typically understood that when you are inside a person's private tent, you are out time. Okay, this is not always the case if somebody invites you into their tent in character, and this is like a sleeping area private tent. But if somebody invites you in time, then, and it's obvious that that's the case, that is so fine. But if people need space and need to be out time, there are a few tools that they have. And one of those tools is to be able to say really, really, and it sounds silly when you say it.
To preface this really quick before we dive into that,
Yeah.
these are all things that we're going to be like, we're going to glance over them very quickly here. So
Yeah.
I don't want people to attach too heavy to them until we've released our player guide, because there are a lot of ways that we're going to describe this and explain it in further detail. So if you don't understand it completely over our conversation today, do not worry. This
Yeah,
is not the only
this
place
is
you'll find
just a basic summary, and also this is talking about the games that have evolved in Europe, the specific mechanisms that you will be experiencing will be tailored specifically to your group and your community by the team.
Yeah.
Like nobody here apart from Bale, just to absolutely preface this, has been involved in organizing the event. We've tried to say this as much as possible in our previous streams, that when we talk about the Brandywine on this stream, we're not talking with absolute authority. We're just talking about our experiences in the game. Obviously, all of the questions that you should direct should be directed either to the guides that you're being given or to the augurs, organizers, and moderators.
Yeah.
But
I think really, really, to get back to your point, it really, really is a great thing that you should think about in ways that you try to encourage others towards certain ideas or concepts or activities. So maybe you want to dive into that, because I think that you have a great example of this in your personal life, like LARP experience.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of times when I've been in situations where really, really is a thing. Basically, the way it works is somebody will come up to you and they will be playing at you.
Yeah.
And they're so enthusiastic and they're having such a great time. And you're like, actually, I really have to do this thing. And then the people just keep playing at you. And then you say, I really, really have to do this thing. And when you say really, really, and you put the emphasis on it, it's a term in LARP that generally means I have really broken my fucking hand.
Yeah, or simply things like, you know, a great example I saw from this last year during events that we were running was there was a player who was trying to communicate to another player that they really would encourage them to do this thing for they were like I really don't know how to find the solution to this problem, and it's going to result in kind of all of these things falling apart. And the other player realized, wait, okay, I know something. I don't want to give it to them because it could be meta information that is not from the character, but I know that if I can give them some kind of indication that there is a solution to be found, and I happen to know what it is, the way they said it was like, I really, really think you should maybe go check out those people over there. I have a feeling that they really, really might have an idea what you could do.
It's a way of subtly dropping meta.
Yeah, and it kind of allowed this, but in the same way, I really need to use the bathroom. I really, really need to
use
go
the bathroom.
feed the horses.
Oh, yeah,
Like, I really, really need to go feed the horses right now. It's a really good way of kind of explaining to people, I'm going to step away from the game for this.
A more obvious physical way to give space and to say, hey, back off, or just to say, hey, I'm not here, I'm not engaging, I am out time.
Yeah,
it's just to cross your hands, and this just says, I am not here, I am not engaging in this game. In a combat games, people will like hold the weapons above their head or to their head, but if in social games, just doing this is the universal symbol that I am not engaging. I am out time. I am out time, and I am doing something, and it's important. So if you are, and these mechanisms are just as important for players as they are for NPCs.
Absolutely.
Right? But I've played in plenty of games, like some pretty high end and very publicly available games to public audiences, none of whom are role players. Like Mosky's improvised theater, and they always tell people at the beginning of every game, look, if a person does this,
Ignore them.
just and because people need space.
Yeah, I think it can be used in a number of different ways that you know, we obviously encourage this to be done responsibly, because there are people will, as we refer to, cheese the thing, where like I'm going to do this in order to mess with people or to create some kind of comic relief. This should be done as a personal thing that is chosen responsibly. That is, I'm either not here, and that means give you an example. You don't step into a scene, have a conversation with a bunch of people and go, ha ha, and then they go like, oh, he disappeared, we can't see him anymore. Like, that's not what we're referring to. What we're referring to is maybe I am walking into my tent and I'm going to change my shoes so that I can go to the bathroom for some reason, because I want to run there because I really need to get there. But on that run, I really don't want to be interacted with because people saw me go in my tent, and I want them to assume I'm in my tent. Yeah. They can come running across the field doing this, and everyone goes like, I didn't see anything.
Yeah, these are tools. They are not gags. They are not jokes. They are not mechanisms so that you can, they are not rules to be exploited. They are safety tools.
Yeah, they're
first
tools, exactly.
and foremost. And if you abuse them, it will be very quickly discovered that you are using them for frivolous reasons. And people will just come up to you and say, hey, maybe hold off on that unless you really, really
intend to do so. Yeah, and I think we'll go more into this in our player handbook around these different ways. And we also have another one that's super useful that we have in regard to media. So that we will have photographers and videographers on site that are capturing the event. And they're trained as much as can be trained to try to be as non-disruptive as possible to the play, to the experience for players. But if a player is having a very very heartfelt moment with another character, and that character interaction is one that is really kind of deep for that player, they may not be comfortable with somebody capturing a photo or a video of that, so they can simply use the phrase, I feel like I'm being watched, or I feel like there's so many eyes on me. And photographers and videographers that are trained for the event actually know to listen for this, and then they will immediately disengage from that whole space to allow for that to take place. Because we've actually had instances, myself personally, in filming events, where I see a character who looks like they're in this intense moment and they're crying and they're holding another player, and I'm like, oh, this must be a beautiful moment I'm going to capture. And then someone comes and whispers in my ear, he just found out his dog died at home.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's like, that's not the moment.
crazy.
It's not the moment I need to have the camera on this person.
But that said, these are all tools that allow you to take the time to realize your character and take the space to realize your character and feel comfortable realizing your character in these play environments and discovering, hey, do I want to play the character like this? Oh, actually, that wasn't as fun as I thought because now I have to deal with repercussions. So I'm slightly...
Repercussions and that's totally a thing we can talk about as well when we talk about like playing and LARPing together is, it's action and reaction.
Yes.
And is like, cause and effect are active things. Like you choose to do the thing.
We
there
play
will be
to
repercussions.
lift. We play to lift in the game. The idea is, like with the fireball we demonstrated earlier, if I am emotional and I am having a hard time and I am like in character as my character and somebody wants to give me that space, then they will give me that space. Or if I want to say, I'm the king of the world, somebody says, oh, your highness. Like we play, we carry each other to a degree. Yeah. Obviously we don't want to abuse those privileges, but that's part of the game. That's part of the rules of play.
And a question that we got actually from someone is like, what opportunities are there for attendees if they want to be an NPC or if they want to participate in the game in like another kind of role?
Yeah, actually, we haven't made the final announcement about this, but I can say it, I guess, as the kind of official note toward this. We will be having, before the end of the month, the NPC submissions, meaning we're going to be having the list of the cast NPC roles that are going to be available for people to choose from, and actually allow them to decide, hey, I'd really like to play this NPC, and they can actually submit an audition for that NPC, and we'll be picking those people from that list of people who are interested in doing it. There's going to be quite a broad range of kinds of NPCs. And what's interesting is that sometimes the characters that people have already designed for themselves actually work fantastically as these NPCs, meaning that they become what's called a playmaker. And that playmaker is effectively them still playing their character, but in an aspect of the event, they have knowledge toward the plot for this one part, where they're able to help players continue their journey and story by being a contact point for that opportunity or quest.
And by being a real person in the game who's been there the whole time, it becomes like an identifiable thing. It's not like just some random person coming in for a bit of exposition. It's like, oh, that person's been a character who's been there the whole time, and now I trust them and I know them, and now they're giving me this information.
Yeah, it has a different level of depth. Like it's Brandywine Festival will not be the kind of event where there is a guy with a question mark above his head, or
yes, that's
this isn't a video game. Like the difference between NPCs and players for the vast majority of that event will be completely undecipherable and purposely designed so.
Absolutely.
Obviously players aren't going to be able to choose to play named or known characters from the books, which is an important thing. Yeah. But there will be named and known characters at the event who are NPCs.
That's correct.
By their nature. Which means you'll be able to interact with them and actually get a moment to experience that.
And you should seek interactions with other people. The play will happen when you interact with other people.
Absolutely.
The more people you know and meet and interact with and have play with, the more people you are engaging with to be able to then engage with all these other plot lines or these potential things, or even if not, like you'll make your own plot lines.
And I think one of the biggest things we try to encourage people is this idea of plot hoarding becomes kind of a thing that a lot of LARPs as they grow run into, where a certain group of players discover plot elements and then they decide, I'm going to not tell anyone and I'm only going to work on this one thing with me and my 3 friends.
Yes.
And this inherently kind of causes a massive divide in the opportunities that players have. So one of the things that we are doing is really encouraging what we're referring to as pub rumors. The idea that you can go at the end of the evening and sit together around, the tavern tent and do the, oh shit, no, there I was. Or did you hear such and such?
Yeah.
And share these things, because the best kept secrets at LARPs are the ones you tell.
Because, yeah, exactly. And because in LARP, and in this style of LARP, you are the game. You are as much, if not more, part of the game than any outside interaction that's coming in. And if you hoard information and you're not sharing information, then you're not being a playmaker. You're not being a quest giver. Every player should see themselves as a quest giver with regard to their own stories and their own information. You want to seek to meet people and share with people, and that's what the game's about. Like, just break down the barriers. And I understand so many of the interviews that we do with players and NPCs, even people who've been playing for 20 years, they say the scariest thing about playing my character is going up to somebody I've never met before and talking to them. But that is what this game is about. And that is exciting and terrifying and amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point to point out.
I think I can bring a good example. It was a couple of years. It was European example, but I think it's a good tool for the people. My people come from Spain, and we wanted to make it like, hey, we have no plot, and unfortunately we had no time to really be deep in the plot. So we can make it for the people. We have normal regular players in that moment. So we make the rumor we call a man that is called Señor Yes. So Mr. Yes, it was half no face, half nothing. And we go to the taverns and it's like, hey, do you listen about Mr. Yes? They're like, who is him? So like, this is a new lord here in the town. But shh.
So he's a new lord,
new lord. Yeah. Shh. But nobody tell him. People will reject it. So please. But let me tell you something. You can say no to Señor Yes.
Securing the mythos of a character.
And we get this mythos, and then we try to write a little papers. These are like, meet Señor Yes. Meet Mr.
And
Yes.
some people, they will, if you get given this little, don't say you can't say no to Mr. Yes. Like, you get given this little kernel, and some people will make their entire event about trying to discover the truth
and
about Mr. Yes.
About Mr. Yes. And the thing is scale that we got like a little band, and that band tried to hunt us. And the end they captured, and the asking so like, who is Mr. Yes? They're like, everybody is Mr. Yes.
But you have to realize that LARP is a two-stream thing. Most LARPs, or at least the LARPs that we run, there is the games that the players play, and there are the games and the world that is developed by the players existing as their characters. Like
co-creation.
You come with a concept of your character. You have a group of people you might interact with to build a way that they play and they exist, and that creates the thrum of life, the status quo, the baseline of play, and that play should be exciting and engaging. You're at a festival. This is the Brandywine Festival. The baseline for this is you should all be excited to be there. You should be interacting with people, looking to meet people. What are your personal quests? What are your personal engagements? And that is the play. And if nothing else happens, you should still have an amazing time building on that play, talking to people, hearing rumors, hearing their stories. But then parallel to that baseline of play is this other level of interaction that's created by like the plot team and the NSCs and the NPCs and the playmakers. And that just adds to it. That said, this is not an amusement park. This is not a fairground. People are not there to sing and dance for you. You are as much the entertainment and the spectacle as everyone else. This is, as Bale said at the very beginning, collaborative storytelling.
I think that's such a good way of putting it. Is there is no like, you're not going to get on the ride and ride it and go like, that was a great ride that we just went on. I loved it. Super fun.
Yeah.
This isn't the kind of experience that we develop when we design events, and specifically the way that we're designing the Brandywine Festival is that it should feel like a real and organic experience.
Yeah.
And that's not how the real world works. You don't get to have this kind of, we went on a ride thing, and at the end it's out, and that's the end of it. Oh, great time, guys. Like, there's so much more that goes into it. And I think the other aspect of it is the third lane to this actually. A rarity with a lot of events, especially that oftentimes we all do, is a completely valid choice at the Brandywine Festival is to do absolutely nothing and sit in the grass and eat food.
I
I very rarely get that at any event I attend or work on, and boy, am I excited for just that. I'm really excited to do nothing but put a picnic. I mean, I won't get a chance to do that much during the event at all.
Yeah, if you really
But,
want to tune out and disengage, like
I can
actually
totally
just
choose.
watching LARP unfold is so fun.
Yes.
It's so fun.
It can be, and the other part is like you're participating in being an ambient aspect of the event still by just being there in a costume, staying in character, and doing that thing because that's the natural progression of your character's day.
In my
That's
mind,
completely
right, I have this like crazy imagination, right, that what will happen is somebody just sits down and sets up a picnic, and then somebody else goes, "Oh, a picnic's happening," and then another
That's
Hobbit
exactly.
comes and
I think honestly,
and then
I
somebody
think
else comes in
I
and
think
says
you're
something. This-
100% right. That literally it'll take one person going like picnic, and then one person will do that,
11-6?
and then everyone goes like picnic, and then they all like just woof. It's like mushrooms in a field. All of a sudden, there's just there's
All right,
just
does that
70
mean
people
play is
doing
going to
picnics.
evolve around like rival picnics and who has the best game of croquet going?
Oh, I hope so. Croquet's an amazing game for a picnic. I hope it's played all over the place.
I'm very excited. We're making a custom croquet set for my personal player faction for
Are you really?
Conquest this year. Yeah,
Are you
yeah, yeah.
really?
I actually own 2 croquet sets so I can play big games. Me and my friends used to play Lolita croquet, which was always fucking hilarious. Especially when you have like 12 people in like full Lolita cupcake outfits, and then the local hoodlums come up and try and hassle you in the park, and they realize you're carrying these wooden mallets.
not quite the people to tackle.
But
I mean,
yeah,
I think it's
croquet, very
really
excited.
great that players are going to have the opportunities to also, like, I know there's people who are like planning tea parties.
Yeah.
People are planning their own games. There are also going to be some silly games that are going to be kind of hidden and mixed in throughout the
Nice.
event that we won't talk about and people can discover. But there's lots of things that players are going to be able to engage in and do.
Yeah.
So
Do we have any questions, Mike?
No,
All right.
people are just
no questions.
just fun chaos.
I love fun
Disappointing.
chaos.
Okay, the problem is this is the chaos chat people.
I love
now
chaos
they're all
chat.
gonna dive in here and
All right. Well then, no, we will get to the end of this, but now we're going to dive into notes on canon. When the hell is this game set?
That's a really good question. I think that, and it's also so important to the
Yeah.
premise of the entire event. And we're going to talk a lot about this in our premise document about LARP at Brandywine, which comes out later this month. So in the story of the Fellowship of the Ring, we have the point at which Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin have all made it out of the Shire. They're passed into the Trollshaws, and they are nearing to the point of being at Rivendell. And kind of as they get there, we know that they've left in their wake this exceptionally upset Shire. I mean, we've had a bunch of Black Riders riding around for a few days. We've got Bilbo just disappeared some years back, and that still was kind of a shock even up to recently. And then you've got on top of that all of this weird happenings going on. Not to mention, we know from things like concerning hobbits, the chapter at the beginning of the Lord of the Rings, that there were already some kind of rumblings about big folk on the edges of the Shire. So there's some elements that kind of build a lot of potential rumor mill, and that's the rumor mill that we're diving into. We're jumping into a group of hobbits who are looking to shake off the unpleasant recent events of the previous season.
Yeah.
And they're now looking to have a good time getting all of that out of their system.
Yeah, and with regard to that, like it's probably like as Bale said, don't play established characters. If you are a player character,
Absolutely.
don't be a named character,
Absolutely.
and probably even stay away from named families. Like,
Oh no, you can actually, we're okay with that part.
okay,
Oh, really?
But you cannot be directly related. You can't be Frodo's cousin.
Okay.
But you might be Frodo's second cousin removed
Okay.
on his mother's side.
But from my perspective, like you have this like. All right, let me give you my speech here.
Okay.
So you guys are standing on the precipice of a whole new event cycle, a whole new world. This is the first time that the Lord of the Rings franchise has officially licensed and entered into LARP, being run by Burgschneider, who has been running for the world's largest LARP for 20 years. And in this moment, it is going to continue. You have the opportunity to create your own legends, to establish your own legacies. Sure, you have just found out right now, you have the license to play family members or relatives of, but my God, friends,
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to create your own dynasties, your own families, your own legends from scratch right here on your show and start this new whole goddamn thing. It's very exciting, at least from my perspective.
You seem quite excited. Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty good because I got the pleasure to stay here and then make a lot of Europe LARP events, but I never in my life have the opportunity to just start since zero.
Yeah.
To build my home history.
It's kind of it's not a thing a lot of players get a chance to do, is to start at the base of an event and be part of the stories and legends that become that event's kind of traditions. I think there's a lot of really fun things that people are going to be able to establish.
Yeah.
And then the quests and the storylines that come into the game beyond that, like I said, that's the baseline, is you being yourselves in that environment, and then everything else is just going to be crazy cool expansions on that.
Yeah.
You know?
And also it's too much. You can do a lot. I mean, like,
yeah, 3 days seems like a long time to be in character.
Yes.
4
It
days.
will go by like that.
It goes so quick.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
Yeah, I think if I got the opportunity to go there, I think I'm gonna be the most famous Hobbit you like to taste all the butter beers in place. I would
all the beer.
I will find that legend drink,
Yeah, you're looking for the best.
the best one. That's gonna be mine.
Actually, I really like this comment here we just got. Trying to be Sam's unknown half-brother from an affair won't get you any respect in the community, but being a nobody who plays so compellingly that you become known in the community, that'll get you respect.
That is the best comment. Whoever said
Nailed
that,
it.
bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. Very well
You
done.
get it. You get it.
That's
You absolutely
perfectly
get it.
No credit given to that idea of a character. You're trying to already play off of the clout of some other character. But yeah, 100%. Becoming a character that's known at the event where everyone comes back the next year and is like, hey, I know, like, and everyone's excited about your character. And remember that time that, and they tell the stories to people who weren't even there. That's the fun stuff. That's that one time that he tried to, keg stand a barrel with nothing but a leak as the thing that drink through. That's a crazy idea that he tried.
Hey, I once engaged in a cucumber duel in the middle of a pitch riot during a particular sporting event at last year. It's like
Cucumber duel seems like an interesting.
sometimes it happens. You just live those dreams. But like, speaking of cucumber duels, food and utilities.
Boy.
That's an important topic, and that's where we're at. Look, one of the important things here is to live for your comfort in your camp. As we were talking about earlier, hobbits bring their lives with them. Yes, they're going to a festival, but if you're going to bring a camp, you want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You want to like blankets, pillows, cushions, bring what you need to feel at home, basic facilities like toilets, showers, and medical facilities will be taken care of. There will even be an out room if you are overwhelmed by the game or if something else happens in game.
You just need to step away for a bit,
Yeah,
we've had people attend the out room because we had a gentleman who his wife went off on this long quest. It took like 2 days. And she only came back late in the evening, and he'd watched the I think it was 3 or 4 kids every day, and they were just hellions running about having a great time, but he was trying to keep up with them. She finally came back from the quest, and he was like, I need time. So he came to the out room. He's like, I'm just going to play Switch in the out room for 2 hours and have a beer. And we were like, you do that, sir.
Yeah.
And that was his out room experience. It was just, I'm just going to step away for a bit and have this. And it was great. And out room can be everything from, hey, I just want to step out of game for a bit and have a refresh, to, okay, I really actually would love to talk with somebody. And the big thing about the out room, and we haven't really talked a ton about it, but we're going to have a lot more information in the coming months about it.
Yeah.
Is that the out room is a space in which you can do that, where we do have a professional mental health or a mental health professional there if you do want to talk to somebody.
It is the place to step outside of the game if that's what you absolutely need. And there are no questions there. It's just
you don't need to say.
space. You want to talk to somebody, great. You don't want to talk to somebody,
Just take a seat and enjoy.
and
It's a
breathe.
comfortable space to hang out.
Yeah. That's what it's for. But yeah, bring snacks, bring pillows, make your space comfortable. Because if you want to have people coming into your environment, like we said before, like you want it to be comfortable for them to come in. Hobbits are very hospitable. They're all about inviting people to do things and go places. But that's also important because that bleeds into LARP. Because when you can go out and you can play someone, you can play with someone, you can meet someone, you can talk to them. But if they're then like, I'm going to go and do this thing, and you're like, oh, cool, and what is that? And can I come? If they're not inviting you, if they're not offering you to come, you give them space. you know, having the option to say yes, no, or maybe to things is cool, but at the same time, having play options like snacks, cool places to do, cooking food, like there are communal fires, right?
Yeah, communal fire pits. They're basically long fire pits where you can share space to cook food, and obviously we encourage people to be courteous to one another and to make sure to clean their space when they're done with it. But we absolutely are kind of making that space available where we're going to bring firewood, provide firewood, and allow people, because a lot of people traveling from out of state can't bring firewood into the state. One of the things in order to keep the ash borer beetle from spreading around the country is to actually limit the amount of kind of crossing the state boundaries. Wood, don't bring wood unless you purchased it from a local wood supplier. Just don't, you know, when we're talking about
you guys
firewood,
have
raw
access to
firewood.
wood on location, yes?
We do,
Yeah,
we'll
that's
have
nice
one on
of-
location, and we'll have those communal fire pits available for you to be able to.
And with regard to, like, somebody brought it up in the stream last week, they were asking about like how to like be sensitive about communal fires, and look, our answer is the same. It's just, we answered it last week, we'll answer it again, just preparations. Make preparations, marinate vegetables, marinate like foods, pre-cook your soup stock, so you're not sitting there making a stock for like
cut
hours
your
on the
vegetables
stove.
before you get up to the space. You
Make
know,
it preparation. Boil your, like a thing I was saying last week, just like boil potatoes before you arrive. Bring jerk beef to put into like a stew, or any jerk meat to put into a stew instead of like something else. Again, if you want to prepare your meats, like make sure you got a good cooler. You know, it's gonna be like well prepared, and you can like vacuum seal those meats, and like, or even in Ziploc bags with pre-marinades, and if they're sitting there for a couple of days all marinated up.
quick, fast way to be able to knock a meal out for sure. And it's also, unless you really enjoy that process of slowly, you know, kind of going from raw, in which case, you know, you can absolutely do that. Feel free. When you're using the communal space, though, it's encouraged that you utilize that communal space at a reasonable time span. Just so that other people have also have time.
But like most bread, cheese, salami, cured meats like speck, blood sausage, they can sit out for a few days. Fruit, vegetables, like if you're getting them fresh and bringing them to the event, like you don't need to refrigerate those things. They were designed to be hanging out. They're all pre-smoked, pre-cooked, pre-made. That's such easy food and great food to share as well. Oils, like really nice olive oil, mustard oil, like sesame oil, like sesame. So get some roasted sesame seed oil with a little bit of sweet cream, and then some roasted sesame seeds on top with the pancakes. That's my special present for you guys.
Come back around to the pancakes.
Someone's asking if there's going to be food vendors on site.
There will be food vendors on site.
Yeah,
We're going to have some food vendors that are both in game and out of game. We're going to have some. The idea being that you're going to be able to utilize all the food vendors in game, but some of them will also be placed in an out of game space, just so that you kind of have the option to eat out of game. If you
Yeah, and
choose
some
to.
vendors will be interested in the play and the character interaction,
The ones
character
that will
play.
be in
Some
game,
won't
yeah.
be, but you know, you'll gauge that pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
We do have a really important question actually regarding eggs. Can we bring our own chickens?
No, and not bring your own chicken. As much as I would love to encourage
Asking for a
people to
friend.
bring their own chickens and ducks, I think it would be super cool. Don't bring chickens and ducks. Pets in general are. You do need to have the correct paperwork and everything to bring.
So people can bring dogs.
if you have the correct paperwork in regard to that animal being a support animal.
Okay, and cats,
No.
hamsters. So only dogs.
So for
An
support,
emotional support animal with the correct documentation is allowed.
Okay. Super important.
Hamsters.
Please no.
And it's like a farmer market too, or farmer
Yeah, we actually are going to be working with a local farmer or a couple local farmers actually in order to have like fresh produce and so fruit and veg
that-
available on site that they're going to be able to purchase, you know, in order to be able to cook.
We
And
don't
we're-
have that here.
Yeah, something I've always wondered why
No,
we don't have that at Conquest. I feel like at Conquest we do have one.
Yeah, there
we
are
have
some
one.
vendors, there are some people who sell fresh things, and always at Chronicles and JDS they have fresh bread rolls, often coffee as well, so people can book to get their bread rolls, so they get their fresh baked bread rolls every morning.
And we're going to have some similar things we're going to talk about in some upcoming
awesome.
articles. We're still, the article may get pushed back on food because we're expanding our initial plan stored food. So I can say this, that our initial plan for food was just a few food trucks that were going to be available, and we were going to kind of have them on site to be able to provide food for people, but that's actually expanded into a few more food trucks. including like a vegan and vegetarian food truck option that
Yep, yep.
specifically specializes in this, who's doing custom menu
Oh, that's
specifically
so
for the event. In
cool.
fact, all of our
So
food
cool.
trucks are doing custom menus for the entirety of the event. So this means that,
Awesome.
you know, a truck that was actually doing burritos and tacos is now completely shifting their menu to be a Hobbit appropriate menu, and they're taking that years of experience in cooking, you know, fast-paced foods to offer us different options that they can do from their truck.
So, like, plan your events around it. Like, you can eat at home, you can eat out, but
Yeah,
like,
do
you
both.
can also
Yeah.
go out on a date and have dinner one night. Like, you
absolutely
don't
do that.
like. Well, you can do it every night if you want to, but like, you can. It's nice to take advantage of the facilities to just have It is a festival.
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
like that's the vibe. There will be these things at your disposal, which is cool.
Yeah. Food is one of those things that we take super seriously. We also, you know, one of the things in the player guide.
It's taking food seriously.
One of the things that we are making sure that's in the player guide as well, that players are going to be required to bring their own plates and dishware and all of that stuff to get their food even from vendors. The reason being that we are trying to run the event with very little waste. We're trying to really reduce the amount of trash that the event is producing. You know, things like the poles for the tents and most of the decoration elements are actually being developed from what we're clearing from the land in order to do the event.
Yeah,
we're trying to
awesome.
recycle and to be able to
That's
Yeah, it
pretty
really
strong.
integrates the aesthetic of all of the facilities into the
It does.
environment.
It does.
Which is so cool.
And it also reduces waste, which is something that we're
That's
really
pretty good
we really would like to do as
But
much.
that
as we
means
can.
like you got to bring your vital infrastructure, guys. When I mean vital infrastructure, I mean you have to make sure that you have at least a spoon, a cup, and a bowl on you at all times because you got to be prepared to eat
The whole
and
day.
drink. This is like one thing that we know for certain about hobbits is you must absolutely be prepared to eat and drink.
Oh yeah.
I
a
would
napkin,
not
a bowl, a
agree. You
spoon,
need to
a
worry
cup.
about it with you at all times by any means, but you know there
At
are.
all times.
I have seen some very cool people make like it's like a set of straps that holds like a teacup and a tea cozy or a tea coaster and like and like on a belt, and then I've also seen people do like the whole like
Tactical picnic set. they
yeah
call it.
tactical yeah whatever that is. I love it. I think we've seen some really cool people do those.
I believe there's a couple of straps on for a whole leg of ham.
That's awesome. I love that. But I think, you know, food will be something. We're gonna have multiple food trucks. Right now we're looking at somewhere between 6 and 8 food trucks being on site. Right now we've locked in 5 of them with their new menus, and the reason why the article may get pushed back is we're still working on dialing in some of those menus because we want to present what is the plan for each of them, what's going to be available, and the ingredient list of what's going to be going into those so that people can plan ahead on what might be dietary restrictions
Yeah,
or
true.
allergies.
Great.
And then real quick, the last part of that, just to be clear, we also will have some communal free meal related things. For instance, there will be a pig roast.
Oh, that's very exciting.
So
Yeah, so just real quick, so with the guides that are coming, so basically the rest of the guides will be on schedule or maybe just a little bit delayed until we get all that information kind of compiled.
there's a process that obviously, you know, we put those dates down as tentative dates that we're trying to aim for. We've already had to move back to these dates at least once, and it may be that we have to shift things around as well.
Yeah.
The point that we're always trying to reiterate and we'll communicate continually is we're not concerned about the date at which we release the document. What we're worried about is making sure that that document is ready when it is released.
Yeah.
Which means we're not going to cut corners in order to hit a specific deadline that we set for ourselves. We're going to make sure the document is correct before it goes out, because there's nothing worse than releasing a document and finding, okay, we didn't even cover the basics of what is going to be really necessary here, or this is missing very key aspects of the event that we really need to be covering. So as much as it may be frustrating for people to see, hey, there's been a delay on a guide or a document or an article, it's really important that we get these right, which means taking the time.
Yeah, which means like you don't have to go and be like, oh, this is like the guide 2.0, like this is the new guide, and
We will probably have
Yeah.
updates, but it'll be things like wording or phrasing or
Yeah.
adding little elements where we realize, okay, this could be kind of helpful, but that base guide needs to do its job from day one.
Okay. Great.
And that brings me to the final statement before we open the floor for at least a few questions. Like, I know you've put a bunch of questions out there, but we'll give a little bit of time for a couple of questions. The last thing is to, like, this is, like a lot of festivals, a sustainable festival, which means we have a zero environmental impact policy which means we just need people to be aware of any fire that they are making, like cigarettes or anything else outside of space. It's going to be the tail end of summer. And it's just very important to make sure that, again, there's going to be guides with regulations about these, but also trash. And not just like, hey, yes, pick up your trash, but a lot of people, even though they're playing an in-time game, will bring a bunch of out-time trash to the event. And this is not stuff we want left in the environment. Not only will it break people's immersion, but like as somebody who has played a lot of LARPs in Australia, I can tell you that trash is dangerous, legitimately dangerous to the environment. And in the case of glass, like all LARPs in Australia prohibit any glass because it can be responsible for starting forest fires, bushfires.
We will be allowing glass and ceramic for the event, but we do have, and it's in the camp guide, the policies around the setup and takedown of a camp, and the importance of why it will be that you are not allowed to actually like go collect your vehicle until you've actually had a walkthrough of your site done to ensure that your camp space has been cleared. We intend to leave this field in as much of the state as we arrived at as we possibly can to allow it to continue to be part of that ecosystem without damaging it as much as possible.
The golden
That's
rule,
really key.
I think the golden rule with all festivals, all LARPs, all zero environmental impact events is don't bring anything with you or buy anything on location that you are not capable and prepared to take away with you. And there will be facilities, there will be guides. There are usually trash and garbage facilities with all these things.
Correct. Yeah.
But with that, you may see that I am holding no more prompt cards in my hand.
I think we can dive some questions then.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, this is the time. I know we've been blazing through it, but there was a lot to cover, and we just wanted to make sure that you have this permanent video record of what's on so that you can refer to it at least as a loose guide with which you can then ask further questions. Obviously, everything that we're talking about may change, but so much of what we talked about is just exploring the fundamental principles of how we play LARP. Nothing is absolute. Obviously, we, as in Nico, myself, Mike, and other people appearing on the stream, are not running the Brandywine Festival. All specific questions and absolute responses should be directed to and will come from Bale and the rest of the team associated with the Brandywine Festival. But we hope this has been a little primer for you guys.
Yeah, that was great.
All
Any
right.
questions?
So we've got, is the next survey still coming out this week?
The plan is, I mean, Mike, actually, you worked with me on that this
Exactly.
week.
I just saw that. I was like,
grabbed you to help me kind of sort out some of the final details. That is actually still planned for Friday or Saturday of this week.
yeah, I think Friday, yeah.
I think, I mean, you and I still have a couple pieces left to actually work on to make sure we haven't missed any of the specific important questions. It's funny that you were the person that I was like, hey, Mike, can you help me organize this into the final form I need?
Yeah.
Which is great.
And it just, if someone have, Mikey also is coming to Brandywine Festival, so it's fine.
What?
You're gonna go to Brandywine Festival this year?
I still need to like get that sorted. So
People are asking, people require.
I did see that. So if I'm going, so it's not a yes, it's not a no. It's in German. What they would say is "jein."
Yeah.
Nine. Or in Australia, we'd say, yeah, nah, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that it's all going to be up to the greater gods of the organization as to who comes and who does not as it gets closer to the day.
Clarify, like, how should we request official organization for events like Night Market and Lantern Parade?
Yeah, it's awesome. So that's actually a form we're going to be putting out into the community where people can submit ideas that we can then say, awesome, we totally condone and love this idea. And then what that'll actually go through is kind of an approval process. We just have to make sure that when something is that prominent at the event, that it fits within the kind of within the aesthetic, within the canonical presentation, but then also that it doesn't potentially have any like weird risks involved that players may be overlooking that we have to keep an eye on. Things like insurance or or fire safety or
the
something.
lanterns, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we just kind of glance over. When it becomes a really prominent idea like that, we try to. Things like Night Market, we've already been like, awesome, we love Night Market. We're going to probably have a schedule of these that we're going to be able to release once we've gone through them. But keep an eye out. We'll have more information about that form that we'll probably pin it in the Discord somewhere where you guys can grab it in a logical place. I saw another question in there about like making announcements toward delays in the future. Definitely. It's something that we'd like to make improvements on. There's always room for us to make improvements on communication.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. If we do have delays, ideally, yes, we would love to be able to get those to you. I will do my best personally, try to make that
And
happen as
again,
much as I can.
just for everybody in here, this is the yes, we are coming from a place where Bale has a lot of experience running games in the past. We as an organization have a lot of experience running games, but this is still the first time that this event has been run in America, and it's the first time that we've run an event in America, which means there's always going to be a certain amount of teething issues. Please, please, please have patience. I swear this is not Fire Festival 2.0.
Someone actually jokingly called it the Shire Festival, and they spelled it Shyre. I was like, damn, if you're gonna make fun of it, at least lean into the pun, because that was great.
That's really
No, that's good.
Full
Yeah,
credit to whoever came up with that.
Yeah.
A quick note also, we also have some amazing initiatives aside from those kind of things that are happening in character. One of our players, Allie, is doing organization for a player organized 4 players shuttle that'll coming from I think it's LEX, I believe, airport.
Yeah.
Awesome, super helpful for the people who are interested. It's not run by our team or Orga, but she's taking it upon herself to try to organize this with players, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
Make sure to check. You can do a little search about shuttle in the Discord if you are interested in potentially using that.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, just a fast question. Everything about, for example, beer bottles are really banned, or any suggestions?
Beer bottles?
Yeah.
So we have a whole section in it about the guy.
It's already a section.
Yeah,
right?
we've
Okay.
approached and discussed this.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Just people
But-
are just asking about it.
In brief, look, generally in European LARPs, I don't know how it's running here, but in European LARPs, people will bring cases of beer and leave them in their tent, and then they will take their large steins, because you can get steins
And in
everywhere in
it's like
Germany.
2 liter.
2 liter steins, and they will take their large steins to their tent. And
Fill it
also,
with 3
the
beers.
bigger your cup, the more like a hobbit you will look. And then you put 1 or 2, and like I've worked bars at these events, and sometimes I've even poured 4 or 5 beers into a single mug.
I haven't seen 5 personally, but I know that you said you saw 5, and
Uh-huh.
the most I've ever done is like 3 and a little bit beer.
Yeah.
And that guy came back like less than an hour later. I was genuinely impressed. Like, wow.
So yeah, just going and sneakily filling away so the bottles, because the bottles have the branding on them. If you want to go and take all your bottles of beer and soak them in water for like 3 cases of beer for like a overnight, and then take all of the bottles, all the branding off them, like, and put your own labels on them.
We
Cool.
we wouldn't advise that either. We prefer people just transfer into an appropriate vessel.
Yeah, like I said, official guys here.
Sorry for that.
I'm still on team Goth Hobbits.
Don't do this to me today.
I'm not.
Potato cella.
Sorry, I just have to
Potato
laugh when
Cella.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, excuse me. That's good. Shire Festival, Potato Cella.
It was
like,
so good.
it's
Sorry for laughing in the middle
No,
of
no,
the speech. It was so
some
good.
of these were. I saw some great puns from people.
I just
Oh, yeah.
read it in the
Good.
moment. It was so good.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
so
quite
much.
funny.
I love you. Making me laugh.
Really nice question we just got actually. Is there anything the Brandywine community can do to help you and the team out? First of all, I just want to say I love that we have a Brandywine community already built up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I-
So good.
Honestly, thank you for even asking. I mean, it's honestly, it's cool that you ask. I think that's really awesome. I think there are going to be some things that are going to be coming up over the next weeks and months. I mean, the team right now is kind of really geared up toward the fact that we've got to get some stuff sorted out for. Actually, and guess I can kind of make this as an announcement because we haven't talked about it previously. A lot of the team right now is very heavily focused on preparing for San Diego Comic-Con.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can announce officially that we will be sitting on the Miller panel at San Diego Comic-Con.
Awesome. That's
We're
great.
gonna be
That's
talking
really
about
great.
we're gonna be talking about a lot of what's gonna be happening at the event. We're gonna talk a lot about what it takes to produce the event, the process that's gone into it. We're also gonna be showing some behind the scenes footage of the team on site during our June team workout. The work weekend we're gonna be showing off a lot of stuff about that. We're also gonna be talking a little bit about what else is to come when it comes to Middle Earth Adventures as a brand and as an event crew, not just for the Brandywine Festival, but beyond that.
Whoa.
So looking beyond just the world of the Shire and
Stay
Hobbit,
tuned.
what comes next after
And if I'm not mistaken, most of the San Diego Comic-Con panels are also streamed and then recorded online.
that. I couldn't say about this one. I have no idea. Yeah.
Question for the chat, like where else in Middle Earth would you like to explore? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question.
Well,
Great
that's a
question.
good question.
Yeah, where else would you like to experience playing a story, from the trilogy or the Hobbit. I think that'd be super cool. A question that also came up around will we do another weekend, like a team weekend on site? There is the potential that we will do another team weekend on site, either end of August or middle of September.
Nice.
There's a chance on either end that we'll be doing one. I can't give any dates or anything, but there is a chance we'll be doing another one. So keep that in mind. What are we?
Dwarves.
Mines of Moria.
Mine of Moria.
Yeah. Can we please do like a Mines of Moria goblin event where everyone plays goblins and it's all about goblin society? It's kind of like the Brandywine festival, except we're all eating rats and fungus.
I love the enthusiasm you bring into this. I'm just gonna sit here and kind of shake my head, No, I think dwarves is cool. I mean, I love that. I mean, dwarves is a bit tricky. Exploring that space. Also, costumes for dwarves are really tricky.
Yeah.
But an event in which players get a chance to interact with dwarves, I think, is an awesome idea. I love that idea. I'd love to do that someday.
Yeah, I want to see an ant too.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I think it'd be amazing to play with the idea of experiencing a game with an ent. I mean, that'd be awesome. There's tons of things for us to be able to do, and more goblins. People want to see goblins and see orcs. We've heard a little bit about this as well. I think there's lots of opportunity that we can play with in different spaces. So,
yeah, it's just such a rich world,
There
a
is
detailed
so
environment
much.
with such a thriving community who have just developed and expanded and played with it so much. It's just it's limitless almost.
yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
Will the Comic-Con events be streamed or recorded for viewing later?
I'm not sure. I'm not the one organizing the panel. I can tell you it's going to be it's one of the main Sunday panels at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and it's, I believe, called The Journey Ahead.
Cool.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense.
So it's Middle Earth Enterprises, The Journey Ahead, I think is the name of it. If you look on the schedule, you'll be able to see it. It'll be in there.
Generally,
So-
with the New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, like the guys who run that generally provide live streams for all of their major stuff. So at least
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them purposefully don't because they're
Oh, they
showing
want
off
you to
stuff
be
that's
there.
actually embargo.
Okay.
So there'll be like footage or special behind the scenes that are supposed to be for their eyes
interesting.
only. So they even like require you to put your cell phone in a bin and things. Like, yeah, there's a lot of that kind of thing for really exclusive stuff at Comic Cons. But I don't know about this one. Hopefully it'll be recorded. I'm going to encourage it to be recorded so that we can release it because there is some news and some we've got some inside scoop stuff toward where things are going to be heading in the future for that event that we're very interested in kind of diving into further.
Yeah, somebody go to Comic Con, take notes, put it up there. Very important.
Oh yeah.
And tickets for 2026
I will
be
say
open
this,
about
I can
3 weeks
imagine-
before. Is that correct?
Real quick, I do believe that the OneRing.net will be covering that panel
Oh,
because they're
awesome.
actually part of organizing that panel as well. So I would assume that they're going to cover what's being spoken on that.
Oh, that's cool. Tickets for 2026?
Tickets for 2026 we can already talk about that now, and we've already mentioned it prior. Like tickets for 2026 will take place in end of October or beginning of November of this year for the Brandywine Festival 2026, and will go out to players from 2025 first. They have first access to tickets.
Nice.
They get first option. They get a week ahead of the general public where they're going to get access to those tickets before general public gets announced. Okay, the tickets are available. Go grab them now.
Well, that's pretty cool. And is there a cap on the location to how many players can feasibly play in this event?
I mean, this year's going to tell us a lot about that, actually. So we right now we're sitting at between 1,000 and 1,200 people on site, depending on our what we end up with our staff count, NPC count, and our music and food vendors, all that stuff. We're probably going to be around that 1,200 mark. Where we see potentially where the property is able to be developed and where we could go is really going to depend on how well this year goes, what problems we find that we aren't able to fix, that we can't get around, that are going to be limiting factors, and then where do we see potential for us to expand into other areas of the property, because there's a lot of space, but we have to utilize that space effectively.
Yeah, and make sure all the facilities are in place and people are provided for. The limit to the amount of people that you can generally have in a space are to do with facilities, whether or not those are toilet, bathroom, shower, fire exits. Even on a vast property, if there's only like one fire road that leads out of the place, like you can only have so many people on it. Also, like what a lot of people don't realize is when events get larger, they logistically get more expensive.
It's opposite of what a lot of people assume, where it's like more
Yes.
people, it gets easier. And with LARP, this is not the case.
case. No,
Larger
absolutely
does
the
not
case.
mean cheaper. Larger means larger, and larger means expensive.
Yeah, more expensive, which is which means there's a lot that comes into place. Also, like the larger something gets, the more interest the local community will have in it, the more interest local governments, and the most successful LARPs that happen over many, many years take place because they have these harmonious relationships with the communities that they embed themselves with. So if they're in a local county where the government and the society as well, because literally the neighbors, if your neighbors are going to complain, you're going to have problems. If the neighbors don't complain, less problems.
So if this event goes really well, could we think about maybe doing it in other places like in Europe maybe?
I guess you're going to need to check in on the article related to communications around our Comic-Con panel.
Whoa.
Okay, good.
Mysterious.
Wait.
Mysterious.
Oh, no, you got more reason to go to San Diego.
No, you gotta go to San Diego, guys.
I think it's already sold out.
Huh?
I think San
Diego Comic Con.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to go on the street and find a card. People do
People
hustle.
sell them. Yeah, it's crazy. San Diego Comic Con. I'll be honest, if I wasn't going to be doing this panel, I generally don't go to San Diego Comic Con or New York Comic Con because they're so full. They're
Yeah.
To me, it's just too many people. I really appreciate everybody who comes out and does these. Working those booths and working those spaces is going to be really great. If you are at San Diego Comic Con, please come by the Middle Earth Enterprises booth. I will be there each day for a window in the middle of the day. And really looking forward to meeting and talking with as many of you as come around.
Someone also asked where the tickets will be available for 2026.
That's a big change. Yeah. And we'll talk about this, the panel, a little bit, but this is a really good point as well. They're going to be available specifically on Burgschneider.com in our new ticket system and ticket shop. That's where we're going to be able to pick them up. We recently had a stress test to kind of actually
It was very
run
stressful.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
We ran our JDS tickets
But
recently.
it was the smoothest ticket launch we've ever had.
Yeah, I was
It was
really,
awesome.
really excited to hear about how well it went. It gave me a lot of hope toward like when we do our ticket launch this October, it'll be really great. Yeah, we're going to be doing our ticket launch through Burgschneider, and it'll also be connected in with our ticket system for the future. That ticket system also will play a role in this year's tickets. Actually, we'll be issuing tickets in that system for people as we get closer to the event. But at least for the next year's tickets, it's entirely going to be on our system. We're staying away from Kickstarter, as Kickstarter first off takes a huge chunk of the money that you raise.
Right.
It's a big percentage, a lot more than actually a lot of people realize.
Yeah, and the more money we have, the more we can provide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so this is like a big factor that kind of plays into it. Also, we're able to control a lot more of the metrics, and Kickstarter provided a lot of problems for us. Actually, it's one of the biggest things that we learned about doing this event was normally we're so used to using our own ticket system for things that we have all these metrics and ways of communicating and sending information, also collecting information. We didn't have these when we went with Kickstarter. So like you and I were just going through, for instance, the entirety of the Kickstarter list of people and actually setting up all the different things for the upcoming like ticket transfer into the system. All of these things have like, that takes a ton of work on the back end. Yeah. So we're having to do a lot of what is effectively data management and data migration from a system that doesn't like this idea, which is Kickstarter, into ours, which is very specific in how we need to provide information because it's not a standard
The
system.
short answer, Burgschneider.com.
Yeah, Burgschneider.com.
Yeah, go to Burgscneider. Everything's going to be handled through the Burgscneider. It's much easier for us, everyone. You'll be able to get the tickets that you want when you want them. Generally, we've had a lot less complaints this year. So, awesome!
Is that Jim Dandy? Is that Jim Dandy?
I probably do need to go to bed. I always need to go to bed.
Jim Dandy, yeah,
That's just
you've
the
been
nature of my
sick.
life right
You've
now.
been sick for days. I'm amazed you're
Yeah,
even
but
here.
I've had to build many props.
I wish right now I could. So like, I love that I get to be here and talk with you guys. Like we all work together, on a daily basis, which is fantastic. And I'm generally always working on something other than what you guys work on.
Yeah.
And what's really crazy was like, I don't want to spoil what you've been working on, but I
fine.
walk into the prop studio. And every time I walk in there, my brain is completely melted by what you're doing for Conquest this year. I just want to say so many things, but I won't.
No,
but it's so stinking cool.
You can get some idea if you want to watch some of our previous streams. Just to let you guys
Oh,
know,
man.
we are coming to the end. Do we have any last questions? We are already 40 minutes over time because we wanted to talk about this. But are there any last questions, Mike?
So just looping back to
Please
San
don't add any
Diego.
more questions.
San Diego, are you planning on going to any other conventions like the Brandywine team?
I won't confirm or deny that we are currently in the process of investigating what our schedule will look like for this next year. I think a little bit of our news around San Diego will kind of give us a little bit of information on where that's going to be going.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. And that's it?
For the moment, that's it.
All right, please, no more sneak questions. The most important question. So, very quickly, guys, we are going to be rolling back into our Conquest schedule because we are 2 weeks out. I think it's going to be 2 more streams in this studio, and then we're going to be hopefully streaming live from Conquest for 2 weeks in a row to show you kind of some awesome stuff about the site and the things that we're going on there. We are super, super excited. There'll be more content about all of the new factions, all of the new stuff that's happening with the Realms of Mythodia, the world of Sarkhan, the props, the costumes, the events, the things that we are putting together for this. It's super, super exciting. But that said, because we are also on the road to Brandywine, stay tuned. There will be more Brandywine content on Burgschneider Live coming probably on a weekly basis. We have some super exciting announcements coming for you next week with regard to Burgschneider products and the availability thereof. No spoilers, but if you've been following us for a while, you probably have some idea what we're talking about.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'll be coming off the tail of going to San Diego. I'll be jet lagged as all get out, and I will be so pumped.
Nice.
I'm so excited.
Hopefully we'll see Emma back soon. They have been away on their necromantic retreat to try and learn how to resurrect themselves from the far planes to once more join us here. Look, it's important learning. It's an important educational process.
Did Emma die?
Yeah. Again,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Had her skull somewhere.
yeah, it's just
Oh, it's
hanging
almost
out
all
with
over
the
there.
Wendigo. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
To answer the final question, time-honored question all hobbits must answer, when will you wear wigs? Whenever we want to. I mean, that is as often as often as possible.
Yeah, I go back, I think it's 2 episodes ago, we had the Parasol episode. You want to check that out, that's fine. We do requests. The table is very small. We could dance on it, but my head will probably knock the microphones out of the way.
These mics will exactly like that. Yeah.
And let me
They're
tell you,
just out of frame.
right in the line.
doing their job. All right, cool. Yay, wigs. It's probably going to happen. We do have some pretty crazy stuff coming towards the end of the year. We're all going to be holidays around the end of the year as well. So,
I forgot about this.
so we are making some proxy content. I just want to prepare you guys well in advance. It's going to be one thing, another thing, or another thing, but some of that proxy content we actually are going to be preparing at Conquest because we want to try and make up for about 4 weeks of at least 30-minute content going on over the Christmas period. I know that seems like a long time away, but if we don't start preparing for it now, I don't get to go on vacation.
And it sneaks up on you.
Man, I'm already planning midway through next year, so I'm with you.
Yeah.
But thanks, thanks for the work on the Conquest stuff. I'm super excited to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. Hopefully, for anyone who is coming over from the States to Conquest, we're so looking forward to seeing you there. If you want to keep track of what's going on, please like, subscribe, share this channel and this stream playlist widely with friends and family and anyone who's interested in LARP. And if you have any LARP questions, or if they have any LARP questions, even if they're not interested in the stream, you want to jump in the first 10 minutes and say, what the heck is LARP? Tell me more. Even if it's not our LARP, we're still here to explain, to have fun, to talk about it. Join the newsletter, sign up for it, stay abreast of all of the announcements that we have with regard to our franchise stuff, which is Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, Middle-earth Enterprises. Everything is super exciting. Realms of Mythodia, the crazy new card games that are going to be coming out and going to be seeing general release very soon. Realms of Mythodia card games, Sarkhan, Balance of Power, and everything else. Get involved. This has been Burgschneider Live. This has been Bale, Nico, Mike, myself, Herbert Peppard, talking about all things Burgschneider and the Brandywine Festival. We will see you guys
Thank
soon.
you for coming. Thank you for asking. We love